Hi there, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. So today I'm doing another market update video. This is for June 2026. So let's jump straight in and have a look at what's been happening in Bitcoin over the last few weeks. Now I try and do these about a week into the month, but I think last month's update was a little bit late. I think it was probably middle of the month here. I think we were around here. And I talked then about the fact that we'd gone up, we'd tested basically this bear flag, so we've been testing the top of the kind of range here, and I was expecting it to come down. We also touched this bright yellow, is that yellow or green, band coming down here is the 200-day moving average, and then just to make you aware, this up the top here is 50-week moving average. This line here is the 100-week moving average, and this is the 200-week moving average, which we've just broken through. But I was talking about basically, hitting this 200-day moving average was acting as resistance. I think we just bounced off there. I think it was around here, and I was expecting a move down over the next kind of month or so, and we got that move. So moved sideways and downwards for a week or two, a couple of weeks, and then about 5 days ago we had this start of this breakdown, and we broke out of this bearish channel, which we've been in since sort of early February. So that's a good few months. So I thought back here, I remember in the April update thinking we'd probably touch the top here and then come down, and it took another month. So we took a long time to go back and test those kind of top ranges. It took about a month longer than I thought. But the previous update, I said I thought the breakdown was due to happen. I thought we'd break down and test the 200-week moving average, and we've done that. So it took 5 days basically, going down every day. We first wicked below it. This is a daily chart, so we wicked below it a couple of days ago, came back up, and then the next day we closed. So yesterday we closed behind it. We've wicked substantially lower, so we wicked down to around the 59k level, which was lower than this wick, which went down to basically 60,000 back in February. So we've just gone a little bit lower than that, and indeed we've had a close a lower low, so we've closed lower than that. Now I think probably the majority of this move, I think it's about 14% from the break of this bear flag down to where we are currently. I think that's probably the bulk of the move now. I think there's a chance we move a little bit lower over the next kind of few days or over the next kind of week, but I think the bulk of the move, that really strong kind of move down, has probably kind of happened now. But it's nice to see we've closed below the 200-week moving average. We always come down and test this 200-week moving average. And I've been talking about this for the last 2 months. Basically, I've been expecting this move down. I think a lot of people who were bearish, who back even in kind of February when we had this wick down and were celebrating then this gradual kind of like slow kind of like push up to around the 82,000, and we're like, that was the low. The low was in February, and that was just kind of a pullback, and we're going into an all-time high this year. I think everybody, or certainly the vast majority of people now, I think, accept that we are in a bear market and that Bitcoin's doing essentially what it always does. Everybody was calling for the end of the 4-year cycle, but we hit an all-time high in the last quarter, so in Q4 of the post-halving year. It's the year after the halving, which we always tend to do, and then the following year we have big pullback. We generally hit a low around a month later. So my base case would be that we hit a low around October this year. It's not set in stone by any stretch of the imagination. I think two things could sort of upset that. I think if we come down and we sort of settle around this kind of level here, around the 60,000 level, so we're just under this 200-week moving average, I could then see a similar kind of pattern breaking out. So we then climb back up maybe through kind of like July and August, then start coming down again into the autumn to hit a low, probably October, November, something like around that time. If we continue this move, I think this move continues down to around the kind of sort of 50 to 55k level over the next kind of week or so. I think there's an increasing argument that possibly the low's in. If we go down and we bounce around about that level, maybe we have a little wick down later in the year. But I think if we come down further now, so we come down towards the 50, 55k level, there's a chance that it's a sort of like slightly condensed kind of bear market and the low is in. But what I'm anticipating, my kind of base case, is that we bounce around between 55 and 60 for a week or so. We consolidate around here, and then just like this pattern here, where we can then work our way up. If we look at the last one, also at the end of last year, so initial move down, and then we bounce between these kind of like this kind of bear flag on our way up, and then we break back through it. So I anticipate potentially similar thing. We're maybe between 55 and 60k. We start to work our way up. We could work our way up even up to sort of like low kind of 60s maybe in July, and then Yeah, we bounce around over the summer. We have a little bit of a relief rally, possibly July, August, and then we kind of come back down in the autumn. As I said, the thing that would move me against that is if we have a really sustained kind of push down. Maybe we go down another 10%, 15% now. I think then there's more of a chance that the kind of like low would be in possibly in June. I think we could come a little bit lower than this. I think probably I don't think we'll come lower than about 55. That would be my my guess. As I've said in other videos, my target price for Bitcoin is 50,000. I'd like to start buying extensively there. I've got basically my kind of buy orders in all the way down. My first couple of very small percentages triggered, one at 65, one at 62, and the trigger of 60,000 yesterday meant that I'm going to start dollar cost averaging. I do anticipate it kind of going lower, but it's very difficult to time the bottom exactly. So I'm happy to do, and in this case, I'm starting as of Monday a 20-week dollar cost averaging in with a chunk of my position. I then have extra buy positions at 55, 50, 45, etc. But that's it for this update video. Thanks very much for watching as always. Let me know what you think the market will do in the comments below. Is anybody still bullish? Is anybody, still thinking, I think probably unreasonably that, this is not, the usual kind of 4-year cycle for some reason, and then we're just going to kind of bounce back up and see an all-time high this year. I'm really interested to hear other people's opinions, but yeah, my base case is we go maybe a little bit lower than here, but we bounce around them for a month or two and then have another leg down in the autumn. But levels now, I think at sub 60,000 is a perfectly reasonable place to start dollar cost averaging in, particularly if you're doing it between, say, now and the end of the year. So you will capture these kind of prices, the potential for a little bit of a kind of bump back up in the next kind of month or so, but then hopefully the Q4 and autumn and winter lows as well. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. If you give me a thumbs up, that would be fantastic. I hope you're all doing well. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video, but until then, bye-bye.